Thank you, Chair. Thank you, IFPH, for giving this opportunity to talk before you. Like as Jonathan Nair sir told, there are many things to be updated in our system. There are many things to be updated for our students to come up. When I was hearing all these words, I was understanding like, we are underrated, right? We are able to treat many things, but still we are underrated. Maybe one of the reason why we are underrated is we give very tiny medicines and we talk to them, we give some tiny medicines and disease gets cured. So this tiny medicine is the main problem where the people are getting us as underrated. If we are doing something like Ayurveda do, like massaging, all these things, we would have got much more rated than what we are now. So here I am coming here to present a small topic that is a commercial topic, what we can do. It is something which all can try it out to bring this a small commercial thing to homeopathy. So host, can you just allow me to share my screen?
Yes, sure.
I hope it is visible.
Yes, visible.
Thank you. So we have come across many other Ayurvedic treatments where they detox your body. They charge you in lakhs, but they same thing much effectively what homeopathy can do. Everyone of us know, but a small only the medicine may not help. So here we are just putting up a small proposals, what we can do or what science has advanced with, and what we can adapt from the science to showcase with our patients. It is something like a combination of medicine, exercise, and a diet. By what I always believe in, which have always a good results. Uh, I'll start up with a small case which my father always used to tell. A person uh, stamped on a rope and they got frightened and they thought it is a snake and the eruption started in the leg. They tried a lot of medicines. Many of the other homeopaths, eminent homeopaths, tried with many medicines. Still, it was not getting solved. At last, it came to my father and he prescribed opium. And a single dose of opium helped him to vanish that eruptions. So this is the biggest detox a mental in the mental phase what homeopathy was able to do. Yeah. This is the single thing what a mental detox can do with homeopathy. A sudden shock, Ignitia is showing wonderful results, right? A sudden death of a person near us, and Ignitia is helping it between. Yeah.
Sir, please mute.
Yeah.
Ismail said, sir, please mute. Your sound is disturbing.
This is what happening, and a longer run, if you are giving anatomy or it is having a good results. So such a mental detox is possible with homeopathy, and only with homeopathy that I can tell you, because we are the only system where we deal with a holistic approach. Many other systems are telling about the holistic approach, but homeopathy is doing it in reality. So this detox can be of different stages, that is from the anxiety, depression, or whether it is a schizophrenia, autism, whatever it is, homeopathy is able to detox the patient's mind. That is through medicines. And there are many other detox, like if you have some problem with the liver, you can give medicines. With the kidney, we have many other medicines. I'm not trying to tell medicines because I hope there is general public also is in this group. So I don't want to tell more forward with medicines as such, but I can, as my father itself told, there are 4 people and there are 5 opinions. So I don't tell the 5th opinion. So it's left to all the doctors who practice with the medicines. It is your style of prescribing, but do prescribe homeopathic medicines and it can have results. So I will be mainly focusing on exercise and diet, which I really love to do. So this will be my topic of the day. This is just an update. Before coming to the exercise topic, I hope you all know a doctor in Wayanad who used to prescribe laddu or sweet for diabetes. He used to tell them, have the sweet, then your diabetes. That is really a mental detox. But what happens there is they used to uh, make them do exercise. They used to make them work out for an hour, which reduced the sugar. But what happened is when the patient go back to the house, they have only the sweet, not the exercise, and sugar rise ups again. So that means that it's not the sweet which detoxed it. It was the exercise. So exercise is very much important. So most of the patients comes to doctors and ask, okay, doctor, can I do this exercise? Or how much minutes should I do an exercise? These are the major questions a doctor used to hear. So we must know what are the exercises and how much minutes to be done. These are the most common exercises what we see. Okay, I would love to hear it from your side also. Can you people use the chat boxes just for having a small interaction? Can you just tell me which is the best exercise you believe in, which helps the patient much more? Out of cycling, jogging, walking, gym, HIIT, aerobics, cardiac, yoga. If you feel some which is the best exercise, it will be better if you can just type it. Swimming, walking. Yes, I'm getting multiple answers. I should say that according to WHO is swimming is the best exercise. But according to me, I believe in which exercise make you happy is the most best exercise you can do. Because if I don't love to go to cycling, or if I don't like to go to gym and somebody compels me, a doctor compels me to go to gym, I will never do it, right? I will go to gym, but I may sit there and watch everyone do, and I may come back. So I can tell you that is exercise which makes you happy is the best exercise. It must make you happy. It must be entertaining for you. That is the most. If you love to go to gym, you should go. If you love to walk, you should go. If you love to cycle, you should do. That is the best thing what I can do. That is, for example, Zumba. If you people love dancing, the best exercise you can have is Zumba, right? Yeah, even as Sir told, walks with a relaxed mind. Yeah, very perfect, sir. That is, but the problem is in Kerala, I think only Kochi is walking friendly city. Other cities are not so walking friendly. In Calicut, we have to travel in a car to get to a walking track. Uh, but walking is one of the best. I love walking. I used to walk when I go to Bangalore. I used to walk for 5 to 6 kilometers per day. It's really entertaining, and we come to know our surroundings much more. And I should say HIIT, that is high intensity interval training, which is the one of the most followed exercise nowadays. That is, it completes within 20 minutes, but will make you sweat like anything.
Yes,
So
sir,
this is
please
what
mute.
happens.
Your sound is disturbing.
I think there are some network issues there. So this is what happens. So for me, what I believe in, if you are doing cycling, it must be like 20 kilometers uh, within 1 hour. The 1 hour is the minimum limit for an exercise. That is cycling. If it's jogging, also it is 45 to 1 hour. Gym, it is 1 hour minimum. Continuous doing, not sitting there in the gym. Then HIIT, maybe 20 to 30 minutes will burn more than what walking and gym can do with 1 hour. Then aerobic, and cardiac both the same, and even yoga, it relaxes your mind. So this is the most thing what exercise can be. It must be minimum of 45 to 1 hour of vigorous exercise. If they're telling, some patients used to come and tell me, I walk for 1 hour, but when I asked about the distance, they used to walk only for 1 kilometer within 1 hour. That is not of no use, because if you walk slowly, there is no use of doing that exercise. It is better to walk faster. It is must be like 5 kilometers per day, per hour. That is the minimum speed needed for a walking. But when if it is a problem with the knee joint pains, you can do accordingly. That is the thing I should add up. So this is the basic things of exercise in detoxing your body. And thank you all for commenting in the chat boxes. So now I'm coming to the next topic, diet. It is, I think, the most important question, like exercise, the more common exercise what a patient, doctor used to get will be, should I eat this? Should I don't eat this? What should I eat? That's a very common question, because when they go to an allopath, they don't take time to hear from them. But we take time to hear from them because we need mentals, we need all these things. So we talk with them a lot. So automatically we become a member from of their family. We talk to them. So automatically they ask all these questions to a homeopath. And what happens to food we eat? That also we have to understand. What all food we eat and what happens to that when it is entering your body, and how we can detox your body with the diet. There are many things like mini juices which is told, like lime water, do this miracle thing, all these things. So simply we'll go forward with the main four detoxing or main four excretory organs of our body will be kidney, skin, liver, and the intestines. This is the most common four excretory organs which are happening in a, which is taking all the responsibility of detoxing your body. So first I should tell you about the water fasting. I hope you have all heard of about water fasting. The people make the patient. Now patients are more advanced than doctors in all these diets. So they come and tell you, okay, I do water fasting. I do water fasting for this much hours a week or this much hours a month. So we should know what a water fasting is. Water fasting is nothing that nothing else. It is just having only water throughout the day. In the initial phase, we can, if you are suggesting water fasting, you can suggest them for an 8-hour water fast. Then you can increase to 16 hours water fast. Then go for 24 hours. There are yet people who do for 72 hours of water fast too. There is 3 days of complete water fast. Even that is the maximum thing what is possible for a human being, or that is the most maximum point recommendable for a human being. That is 72 hours. So, but it's very difficult to follow. So better you can go tell them to maximum do for 24 hours. That will be enough. After 24 hours, they are doing the even their stool color changes. The complete detox really takes place. I have come IFPH before talking about cycling rally. So I should tell you that after that cycle rally, really I started sweating very badly. Like before that, I sweat very less. But after this cycle rally of riding in nearly 750 kilometers, I started sweating. That is really that exercise what has done into my body, which has activated all these things, excretory organs in my body. So this is about the water. And in the water fasting, we should only take water and like something like lime juices, lime water without sugar. Without sugar is the most important, because sugar always adds energy. So it is only water. It can be salted water, not the sugar water, and no juices allowed. Juices are entirely different. That is also a source of energy. And if really you want, you can take maximum of orange or musafi, not more than that. Not a thick juices. The second thing, second most commonly followed diet is intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is something like it is 8 hours of food interval and 16 hours of fasting. It can be of different spaces. That is nowadays diabetologists also recommend intermittent fasting. Before, what researchers showed was you tell patients to a patient with a diabetic patient to take food very frequently, right? They used to tell them take a smaller quantity in greater frequency. That was the diet prescribed for a diabetic patients. But now researchers has completely changed. Now the diet which is followed by even diabetologists is intermittent fasting for diabetic patients. This is the latest update done in the field of diabetes. So here it can be of different intervals according to the patient's capacity. That can be 12 hours of fasting and 12 hours of eating intervals, and later increased to 14, 10, and 16, 8. 16, 8 is a recommended intermittent fasting period. That is 8 hours of eating interval. You can eat whatever you want. Whatever you want means it doesn't need uh, the unhealthy carbs. It is healthy carbs. I'll come detailed about that in the later slides. And later, for 16 hours of fasting, there you can only have water or lime juices. What I, as I told before, in the water fast. 16 hours will be water fasting. Then the main thing which is followed now is no grain dinner. That is, we this all these things are very much known to all, but there are new names. Its only difference is there are new names. These new names will attract the patients. That's all. It's a no-grain dinner means having salads at the dinner. Avoid rice. What we was used to tell for many years, but there is a new name for it. No-grain dinner. That's it. But only thing addition to in no-grain dinner is you can take whatever which is different from grains. That is, even an egg also can be taken the dinner. Egg is really good as a dinner source because it is very easy to be broken down than any other grains. Automatically, when you sleep, the body is getting restored. Our body is detoxing everything. So automatically, your body should have no much effort on the digestive system. It must be more of uh, lesser work to be spent on digestive system, and the other system it can be repairing much faster. So now I'll be talking about low carb diets. That is not a keto diet. Keto diet I'm not talking now. That is entirely different topic to be talked. So I'll not be talking on keto diet. I'll be talking on low carb diets. When you talk about carbohydrates, we know already there are 4 types of carbohydrates available. That is super fast carbs, medium carbs, and slow carbs. Super fast carbs means it will be breaking out very fast to produce sugar or glucose. Fast carbs are very fast, still much slower than super fast carbs. Then medium carbs and slow carbs. We'll see what it is. Super fast carbs, that is comes with sugars, mainly sugars, colas, high fructose. The colas always have the high fructose. Maybe the people in Middle East knows because there is almost the same cost of water you get colas. So automatically people prefer colas, right? They take in colas than where in India is. So colas always have the high fructose corn syrup, which is very bad for our body. It is a super fast carbs. So we should avoid all the colas and ice creams, desserts, and biscuits. All these things are super fast carbs. So we should avoid all these things. And coming to the fast carbs, this polished grains, which rice, what we get now is polished grains. Every white flour, that is, even if it is maida, all these things are fast carbs. Then sweet fruits. Whatever fruits it's available, which is sweet, is fast carbs. So what we believe is fruits are really good for our body, but there are side effects with fruits too. If you're taking more in quantity, maybe one fruit a day is fine, but if you're taking more fruits per day, it's also having a problem as it is a super fast, as it's a fast carbs. Then honey, jaggery, milk, all these things are fast carbs. Mainly come to the millet, medium carbs. Medium carbs are the slow carbs are much better carbs if you're taking in the food diet. That is millets and starchy vegetables. Starchy vegetables means tapiocas, potatoes. I think in the Western country that is it's much better. Used to follow that mashed potatoes, right? This all these things are starchy vegetables. It's a medium carb. It is much better than rice what we eat. So really, what to say about is the, what we tell that is Western food is not good for our body, but still I believe there are many good food than Indian food, which is really good. That is continental food are really good than many of our Indian foods. But only problem where they lack in, they always take colas with it. So that must be avoided. Then tubers is that unpolished grains. The unpolished rice means what we did with the shell that is with the husk of the grains. Then pulses. Pulses are also a medium carbs. Then slow carbs. Slow carbs are like all the vegetables which is grown above the soil. Then leaves, sprouts, microgreens. Now the most trending thing is microgreens. The people used to come and tell me that is we live in a flat, we don't have area to cultivate things or vegetables. I should tell them that is microgreens are much better things. We can have it in a small baskets. It's very easy to make. I hope you all know what microgreens are and how it is cultivated. It is just a sprouts which is having two leaves. Sprouts from green grams, kadalas, all these things, but it is having two leaves. That is microgreens. Then grasses, that is wheat grass. Then legumes, nuts, and seeds are slow carbs. Even though there are carbs in this, it is a slow carbs. And there are something called no carbs. That is egg, meat, cheese, and ghee. Uh, when we studied physiology, all these things, we have learned about essential proteins. We have studied about essential fats. We have learned about essential vitamins. We have learned about essential nutrients. But did we hear something called essential carbs? There is nothing called essential carbs. To be frank, there is nothing called essential carbs. But still, we eat a lot of carbs. We eat only carbs. So carbs are only needed for energy. But if you're leading a sedentary life, as most of the people do, then why should we have this carbs? Just think over it. And first thing to be changed is change ourselves so that we can change the patients too. So think accordingly, and we have to see. That is just simple thing. Essential proteins. What is the minimum protein required for a body? It is 1 gram into lean body mass. Lean body mass means calculating your body fat, reducing that, and the rest of the weight. That is, if you're 60 per kilo kg a person, it may be 50 kg is your lean body mass. Lean body mass into 1 gram. So 50 grams of protein is required per day. 50 grams of protein will not come from 50 grams of meat. It is entirely different. 100 grams of chicken will only produce 26 grams of protein. A full egg produce only 7 grams of protein. So how much eggs should we take? If you only eggs may need 7 or 8 eggs per day, but are we having all these things? No, right? So this protein intake must be proper. So just I should please, I'm requesting you to just use your chat box again. Let's see. I'll show you some of the items which we daily use, and just tell me whether which carbs are it is. Maybe I don't telling you to classify under super fast and fast. Maybe super fast and fast can be classified as fast carbs, and medium and slow together as medium carbs. This is normally used as a basmati rice. Can you just tell me which carbs are it is? Because just to have an exercise so that uh, I am clear that something has got to you, and plus uh, it is entirely different, right? So let's just try it out. Just anyone can just tell me which type of carbs it is. White rice. It's a fast carb. This is the commonly used brown rice, not brown rice, sorry, uh, commonly used rice in a house. We believe this is a medium carb, which is really good. But sorry to say, it's a fast carb. It is a polished rice. This is the truth happening. This is not a slow carb. It is a fast carb. Thank you, Dr. Srilega. You told about the fast carbs. Thank you. This is the other type of rice, which is mainly used, that is a black rice or brown rice. This is having that husk. This is a rice which I told you it's unpolished. This is somewhere we call it as medium carbs. And coming to the fruits, this is a green apple. We believe that fruits are of fast carbs, but green apple is a medium carb. It is not sweet. Similarly, there is avocado, which is medium carb to slow. It's avocado is a slow carb, and strawberries are slow carbs. Then berries are slow carbs. Really, I have heard from the foreigners that they call avocado as holy avocado. They call it as a divine fruit. They just love it, but we Indians don't have it much. Avocado is really good because it's having a good quantity of fiber and all other stuffs. So it's really good. And red apple, it's a fast carb, as it is very sweet. Then coming to the pulses, it's always medium carbs. This is just to let you know, because when you suggest patients, you should be aware what all these things are. That's the only reason why I'm telling you this. Then a small diet plan, which I just made, but I should say you have to create your own diet charts according to what you love. And the studies has shown now the same item which is cooked in with water and without water is having a different glycemic index. Oats which mixed with uh, milk and cooked is having more glycemic index, which is more problematic than making an oat puttu. So it is entirely different. Same item cooked in two different ways. One is really harmful and one is healthy. A wheat flour, if we are making chapatis, it's much better than we make doshas out of wheat flour. Both the same flour cooked in two different ways, but it's having a different glycemic index. So this is the most commonly followed by diabetologists nowadays. So this is a small example of what I suggest them is upmas, that is really good in the breakfast, that oat puttu, then unpolished rice ka idli and dosha. And nowadays even pulses doshas are also available. Pulses, they are doshas made of pulses. That is really good. Or you can have sprouted grams, all these things as breakfast, as your wish, as your taste demands. Then afternoon, mainly unpolished rice. Unpolished rice having two main things. That is, one is it is not so tasty, so automatically you would take very much less of unpolished rice. Then vegetables, tubers, and what I told is mashed potatoes. All these things you can have. Sprouted grams, pulses, and with this you can take chicken, mutton, beef, or fish, or as you like, or anything as you like, which is cooked in saturated fat. It's not unsaturated fat. People say you to use sunflower oils, but this is not saturated oils. This saturated oils means coconut oil is saturated oils, or else you can cook in butter or ghee. It's really good. About olive oil, you are not supposed to cook in olive oil. You're only supposed to dress salads with olive oil because it is monosaturated oils. Then talking about dinner, mainly no grain dinner, that is a egg pizza or salads. Egg pizza is nothing with egg with some vegetables. That is a no grain dinner. So before that, if you are planning to start or if you're planning to give a diet to your patients, first thing or first of foremost thing you should know is know your BMR. BMR means it's basal metabolic rate. I really believe that BMI, that is a which is worldwide followed nowadays to calculate your obesity. BMI is the greatest foolishness, but as I believe, because a person who's going to gym is who's having a lot of muscles is not obese. He has weight, but he's not obese. So BMI is really a foolishness. Believe in fat percentage and BMR. Fat percentage means how much fat do you have, and in fat percentage you have to see something is a lady always tell I should be size 0, but it is not possible for a lady to become size 0. Don't go behind size zeros to all the ladies, because minimum fat required in a lady's body, a girl's body, is 15 percentage. So don't go for 0% fat. And for males it can be 0 to 20 15 percentage is a common or acceptable fat percentage for a male, and for females it is 15 to 20 percentage of fat is permissible. Then BMR you should calculate accordingly. There are a lot of uh, calculators available in the internet where you can calculate your BMR. BMR is nothing that it is minimum requirement of your body to function without any obstructions. That is what minimum energy required for your body to function, your brain, lungs, and all other organs. So if you are giving a diet, it must be according to BMR. If you are giving less than BMR, what happens is your body go to sacrifice, and sacrifice always increase weight or decrease muscle mass in your body. Never go behind your BMR. No, go behind less food. Dieting never means that not having food. It is just reducing food according to your BMR. So this is what I have to talk to you. I think uh, I have just stopping here because if you have any doubts or interaction, it is better we'll have a talk for next 20 minutes and we'll wind off with the time within the time. Thank you, host, for giving this opportunity. Any questions or anything, can just ask.
Anybody have any
Have a
comments and doubt? Please ask questions. Because he is having another 15 minutes. We are after 1 hour.
Those who wish to ask questions, go to the participant list and raise your hand so that we can call you according to order of raising hands. We have an audience, spectrum of audience from across the world, from New Zealand, from the eastern side to the Latin America and the western side of the world. So we have a spectrum of audience today.
Dr. Nair has asked about what is your opinion on keto diet. To be frank, I really follow keto diet. That was my secret of weight loss. I have lost nearly 42 kgs from my body. I shed from 122 kgs to 79, which was the maximum weight loss I acquired. That was through keto diet. The only thing is keto diet is really good, but it must be according to your BMR. Nowadays, we see a lot of people following keto diet through internet. So that is really harmful for our body because it must be keto diet never means that have a lot of fat or have a lot of meat. It is not a high protein diet. It is a high fat diet. Your whatever BMR is received or which is calculated from your body, 65% of that must come from the fat. So that is to be calculated personalized for each and every person, then given accordingly. That is the only thing which is possible with the keto diet. If you're doing keto diet in a proper way, it is having a very good results. It can control your diabetes. It can control your seizures. It can control your cancer. Even I have patients which I have tried with keto diet and cancer, which was possible. This is my opinion on keto diet.
Anybody else have some questions? Please raise your hand or put it in the chat box. There are appreciations for your presentation, Dr. Jamil. You're always welcome to our forum. You are
Thank
part
you.
of this forum.
Yeah.
So you can talk something more, Dr. Jamil.
Okay.
While we are waiting for questions, you can share something more, some more ideas from your mind for
Okay.
your stipulated time.
Yeah, sure. So coming to the, as Sahas talked to ask about the keto diet, I think I will explain a little bit about keto diet now. Keto diet is something that is now worldwidely accepted. That is what I told you before. That is, it must be 65% of your uh, energy must be supplied through fat. Okay. So here the main thing about keto diet and what is the difference between keto diet and low carb diet. Keto diet must be of 5% of carbs. That is, for average Indian or average human being, 5% of your energy must be supplied through keto carbs. Means 20 grams of carbs are permissible for your body. 20 grams of carbs in which there is no content of sugar. The first thing people used to come and ask me, like, I love to shed my tummy. I used to tell them, try to avoid all the sugars in any way. So automatically what happens is this tummy, what is which is first thing according to Herring's law, what we believe is what comes first goes up last, right? Similarly, the first thing to be in your body will be tummy. So this last thing to be gone from your body is also tummy. So tummy is a insulin dependent fat where the insulin must be regulated. For that, we should understand one thing, how insulin is deposited in our body. Each and every time you have food, insulin is tried to deposit in our body. So if you want to reduce your fatness, or if you want to reduce your fat, first thing will be uh, reduce the frequency of food. What we told before was increasing the frequency of food, which was in the diabetic cases. But here that also came to be wrong. Try to reduce the frequency of food. Don't have food very frequently. And if you want to increase your fat, you have to increase the frequency of food. That is the main thing to be followed. I think Dr. Thomas has raised a hand, so it would be better if we can ask something.
Yeah, please unmute yourself and ask your question. Please unmute yourself.
Hello, good morning, sir. Sir, actually, when we should start medicine for diabetes, sir? So that means in which level of sugar? Because my HbA1c was 6.5 and FBS was 6.2. Then they started glucose 750 once in a day.
Diabetes, to understand what diabetes is, it's a lifestyle diseases, right? So automatically what happens is you have to control your diet too. If you're completely on a diet, you can reduce all the allopathic medicines also if possible. And what homeopathy do mainly is there are two types of prescriptions mainly. One is to be very specific to the diabetes to as uh, other glycophage too. Like that, we have tinctures and other medications. I think Dr. Thomas is from the general public, right?
No, sir.
You're a doctor?
No, sir. No, no. I'm a
No.
nurse.
Yeah. Okay. So as a nurse, you know the things, right? So there are many prescriptions like many tinctures, all these things, which can reduce diabetes as it is. But homeopathy believes in curing from yourselves. It is completely avoiding the disease from your body. For that, we should take complete case details and prescribe accordingly. If there is a familial history, we have to see accordingly and prescribe for diabetes. Meanwhile, there must be a strict diet to be followed so that the side effects of this diabetes or sugar can be avoided, because homeopathy is not a chemical medicines where we just give that and reduce diabetes. It is every healing power is there in your body itself. Your body is created in such a way that it can cure or heal all the diseases. So homeopathy always trigger that force which can cure that, and that get resolving in your body. So medicine prescription must be like that. It will be according to homeopaths, and I think you have to visit a homeopath. That is from the starting stage of diabetes itself, you can start homeopathic medications and it will have a good results. Meanwhile, you have to go forward with diet too, as the healing is taking place.
Thank you,
Is it
sir.
clear?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Is there any replacement system against kidney dialysis? Uh, yes, like we must understand one thing is kidney dialysis or kidney damage is always something where we have given by with two kidneys, right? In even that one kidney is lost, we are fine with that. Even that single kidney goes to 80% of damage, we can work functionally with normalcy. But when that comes reduced again, automatically the creatine rises, all these things. So automatically we have to prescribe medicines, and we can. The first thing what I believe is, if a horse is running, try not to bring it back first. Try to slow down it, try to stop it, then you bring it back. Similarly, a kidney failure or progressive diseases are always a running horse. It is always progressing disease. So try to slow it down, try to stop it where it is, then try to bring it down. So when you start with a kidney dialysis patient, it's already damaged and it is progressing. Let's try to hold him there, then we will try to bring them back accordingly. And there are multiple medicines with homeopathy where we have saved many people from kidney dialysis, and even similarly with the liver transplant. I think we should focus more on all these things, because kidney replacement or liver replacements have a lot of complications, and there are multiple chances of failure, and homeopathically we can do wonders with these diseases. So I think we should mainly focus on all this. That's why I told you about detox treatment. There are every one of us is intoxicated, right, with all the foods what we eat. So if there is an maybe a yearly detox in our body, that can be really good. It must be last Ayurveda they do. They admit patients. They do all these massages. They give many medicines. We also have medicines to detox our liver. We also have medicines to strengthen our heart. We have medicines to strengthen our kidney. We have medicines to detoxify all these things. We have medicines to increase our BMR. We have medicines to make you sweat. So we have medicines to reduce the constipation. We have medicines to make you lose stools. So automatically with all these medicines, even so-called healthy persons who are not healthy really, they have many multiple problems, or there are many toxins in your body, can be detoxed with our medicines. So we can even help it out with our homeopathic medicines. We can take over this, and we can prevent a lot of dialysis nowadays. kidney patients are increasing nowadays. Liver transplants are increasing. Maybe with homeopathy we can reduce all these things because we have holistic approach. We have a holistic treatment plan. We don't treat only kidney. We don't treat only liver. We treat the person as a whole or person as a soul. So that's the beauty of homeopathy. Any more questions? So this is what I was telling you about the keto diet. Keto diet, only thing is you have to take a lot of water. Not only keto diet, any diet you are supposed to take a lot of water. Because a simple person, a simple headache, a person comes to you with the frontal headache or heaviness in the frontal area, ask them about the water intake. It can be because of less water intake also. That is not only in the keto diet. Any persons who comes to you with headache, ask them about thirst. Don't just ask about the thirst. Ask them about the liters of water they take. So automatically, if the thirst water intake is less, there may be a headache. So diet plays a very important role in all these diseases. Is there any solution in homeopathy for patients who already start dialysis? Yes, we have. We can reduce like patients who are going daily on dialysis. We can with the homeopathic medicines. Like there are a lot of medicines. I don't want to tell the medicine name and public because there are people from the public also automatically what they believe it's like as in allopathy. It's not like you have a fever and go and take paracetamol. It's not like that. So I don't want to tell the names of medicines, but there are a lot of medicines where we can reduce dialysis frequency. We can stop dialysis even, but it acts according to the person to person. It's not a guaranteed treatment, but we have a very good results. It depends like person who's taking daily dialysis, it can be brought to alternative days. Then in a fortnight, and later we can stop it out. So this is a very long process. It's not a very short process as I told in. It's a very long process and it's very thought-provoking session to be talked on. So this is what homeopathy can do in dialysis patients. We can do wonders. Thank you. Any more questions?